Breaking news, the New York Mets have signed Devin Williams. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Live. Smash that thumbs up on this video. Hit that subscribe button. Devin Williams, listen, let's break it all down from all different layers. I think before getting mad about this, if you are mad, you have to see what the next move is. It's kind of like people are mad at the Brandon Nimmo trade. You have to see how they replace him and what outfielder they go get, either via trade or free agency. Devin Williams gets a 3-year, $45 million deal. Now, how the contract breaks down is also features a $6 million bonus. $15 million is deferred, and I think that is big here for the Mets when we think about Edwin Diaz, which we'll talk about in a minute. $15 million deferred makes this essentially a $12 million per year deal at present day. I don't know. No one knows yet when he's getting that deferred money, but the Mets aren't. $15 million of that contract are not being paid in the immediate future from the Mets. So that clears them to go get someone else, like an Edwin Diaz. If Devin Williams is the Mets closer in 2026, I do not like this deal. I don't think that's a lot of money for an elite closer, but I just worry. Devin Williams was terrible for the Yankees last year. Now, if you look beyond just the ERA and you look at kind of the metrics, he probably wasn't as bad as people said. You know, he had a career worst 4.79 ERA over 67 appearances, pretty much lost the closer role and wasn't the closer towards the end in the playoffs, 4 scoreless innings, but he was not the closer. The underlying metrics show that he had a 195 expected batting average against, and elite strikeout, whiff, and chase rates, which suggests that that bloated ERA is misleading. He saved 18 games and 22 chances for the Yankees. Now, I think the pressure of the Yankees and getting booed out of the stadium and every time he came in may have got to him. I do think the ERA is a little misleading. He had some outings. He just got shellacked, and that crushes ERA. But I worry that he had a bad year last year. The year before, he only pitched minimal innings where he was hurt for a lot of the year. He had 21 2/3 innings in 2024. But here's the other side of it. If you want, that's the negative side. If you want to flip the coin and look at the positive side, Devin Williams had a remarkable career. I mean, this is a guy that was a rookie of the year in 2020 with a .33 ERA. Now, that was a shortened season. But he's got a career 2.45 ERA. He had a 1.83 ERA over 6 seasons for the Milwaukee Brewers. You know, he is one of the best relievers in the sport. He does have 465 strikeouts and 297 2/3 innings. That's an insane number. So when you look at the underlying metrics and his body of work for his career, you know, he is also right around the 30-year-old range. He's 31 years old. He just turned 31 in September. Edwin Diaz is 31, will be 32 in March. So basically the same age between Edwin Diaz and Devin Williams. You know, I just worry that this is the Mets' plan now at closer. I worry that they're going to go set up with A.J. Minter. Maybe they go get a Fairbanks, and Fairbanks is the 1A closer to Devin Williams. Looking this as a standalone, I'm not in love with it, but I don't think it's a ridiculous amount of money after hearing about the deferral. So there's a lot of layers to this Devin Williams deal. There's the layer of a bounce-back season, which, you know, Edwin Diaz is similar, where Edwin Diaz has had a remarkable season like last year, but the year before he wasn't untouchable. So relievers, it fluctuates year to year. So one year they're good, one year they're okay, next year they're great, next year they're bad. So it definitely fluctuates. And I think David Stearns, knowing Devin Williams better than anyone, as you know, his former GM, goes to Milwaukee and gets, you know, a former Milwaukee Brewer where he spent most of his career. Experience pitching in New York, not great experience because he wasn't great, but maybe having a year under his belt. You know, Yankee fans are also a little tougher on their players. So I don't know if he's going to, in April, get booed out of town by Mets fans, but, you know, he better not start his Mets career like he started his Yankees tenure. I'll just say that. What it means for the Mets, they still, you know, I like this deal if they go get Edwin Diaz. And reportedly, the Mets are still in talks with Edwin Diaz. The issue is he wants 5 years. The Mets want to go 3 years. Well, David Stearns, get this done. Because if you look at a Mets bullpen that now is Brooks Raley, A.J. Minter, Devin Williams, Edwin Diaz, you're talking about one of the best bullpens in baseball. And if you let Edwin Diaz sign with someone else, especially if it's someone like the Dodgers, you're going to regret this for years, especially if it's any NL contender, and you have to face Edwin Diaz in the postseason. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder going up against you. He knows your hitters. He knows your team. So I just don't think you can afford to let Edwin Diaz walk. I'm sure it seemed like the Red Sox is going all in trying to get Edwin Diaz, but the Mets can't let someone outbid them because they didn't want to go to 5 years. I still think Edwin Diaz is in his prime. I think he's the best closer in baseball, and I think it's a grave mistake if the Mets don't just pony up and go 5 years. Now, maybe they say, hey, we'll go 3 and we'll give you 90. We'll give you 30 a year, but only go 3. Does Diaz say, you know what, that's hard for me to refuse that AAV, and maybe I'll get a new year, a new deal in 3 years? But I think the reality is Edwin Diaz is going to want the biggest deal possible. And he said, he wants to take care of his family. So if Edwin Diaz gets 5 for 100 plus elsewhere, I think he goes elsewhere. Because he secures 5 years for his family. He doesn't have to go through free agency again in 3 years. So I think the Mets got to be smart here and get this done. Because it's not going to be good if it's Devin Williams, A.J. Minter are the feature of your bullpen. I like A.J. Minter, but he's coming off multiple years with injuries, multiple surgeries. You just don't know what you're getting out of him. I like Brooks Raley, but again, you need like 5 or 6 relievers deep. You saw what happened to the rotation. They're hoping to fix the rotation that they don't have to rely so heavily on their middle relief in the back end of the bullpen, but you still need a great bullpen. Teams with the best bullpens in the end come playoff time when the starters pulled after 3 are the ones that end up winning. And we saw that. In this postseason, we've seen that against the Mets. We see that every year. So get the Edwin Diaz deal done, and I think we'll all like this Devin Williams signing more. But right now, it's hard to be like jump for joy, and it's hard to be that mad till I see where Diaz goes. Honestly, I don't feel good about him coming back. I'm very concerned that this is they're saying yes, according to sources, reporters saying they're still in on Diaz. I have a feeling someone else is picking him up 5 years, and the Mets don't go 5 years. And I think that's a mistake. With Pete Alonso, that's a different situation. You don't need to give Pete Alonso 5 years. There's no market for him. Edwin Diaz is a market. Like, someone else is going to give Edwin Diaz 5 years, and they're going to be very smart for doing it. And I think the Mets will be dumb for not doing it if they don't. Other big news on Monday, as I'm in New York City at a Marriott in Manhattan. Went to see the musical Six last night. Good show, $35 orchestra. It wasn't incredible. I don't think it's in my top 10 of musicals I've seen. But for $35, that's 2 vodka sodas in New York. It was a good deal. Fun time seeing that. And, a fun time for Steve Cohen and Hard Rock is they've been awarded the casino license for the $8 billion Metropolitan Park that will be next to Citi Field. And, I tweeted, good luck, buckle up for traffic 2026, 2030. Everyone said take the train. Well, there's people that come from out of town in different places or Long Island or like people not comfortable with the train. People still like to drive, and I get it. Listen, I do the train, but there's times I Uber. It's going to crush Ubering. Maybe not the first year, but eventually it will. There's going to be places closed when they're doing construction. Hopefully it doesn't affect it, but I have a feeling it's going to affect traffic, and it's not going to be pleasant getting to and out of the ballpark. But that's besides the point. I think this is great for the area. Boosting this up has been needed. Now, I could have lived with, a couple of bars, restaurants. I think casino's great. Like I've talked about in here, you got to worry about the Hard Rock scooping up a lot of tickets and getting VIP customers who are betting a lot and, playing a lot of money at the casino, coming over to the ballpark. But I think for the area, it's awesome, and I'm excited. Come 2030, when it opens, as of now, what that area is going to look like. I'll be 39, going to 40 years old then, so I'll be a full-blown adult. Let's see if I'm at a better place in my life by 40. But by 40, we're going to have that area spruced up, and it's going to be awesome to see. So there's still, I believe one more step for this to get finalized. But Monday was a monumental step. The gaming facility location board basically recommended they get the gaming license. So what do you guys think? What do you think about the casino resort, Hard Rock Metropolitan Park, $5.3 billion integrated casino resort and entertainment district in Queens adjacent to Citi Field with a projected June 2030 opening. So summer 2030, mid-season of the Mets, Metropolitan Park, that whole area, it's going to be a good time. All right, let's go to your comments from yesterday, Monday's show. We'll read some of them right now. Here we go. Mark Batch is 100% correct on Puma article. Yeah, it was clickbait. From Stuart Austin, you're 100% on target regarding McNeil. He's diminished performance-wise, and if he's not already, he's on his way to becoming a full-blown clubhouse cancer. Time to trade him and package him with Senga while we're at it. Won't win with either of them. I don't think anyone wants a package, Stuart, of those two guys because that's a combined $31 million. So I don't think anyone's going to take a package of them. I think they're going to be separate deals. And if you are trading McNeil, there's a chance you have to eat some of that money. But yeah, I mean, he is a clubhouse cancer. Dr. Manhattan says, I agree with your take on McNeil. Those contracts that Epler gave McNeil and Emma were awful. As a fan, I want him out of here after the 2024 season. Lindor is not going anywhere. LGM. There you go. Yeah, that's the reality. It was previous regime. David Stearns wouldn't touch giving either of those guys those contracts. And one of them is gone, and now you got to get McNeil out of here. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air when McNeil's just, when it's either announced, and it has to be, whether they say DFA, release, trade. Having him away from this franchise is addition by subtraction. Albarelli says, Jeff got to go get value for him. You're not going to get much value. That's the thing. I think I wouldn't expect anything much, if anything, for Jeff McNeil. Steve LFG Mets story has already been refuted by the players involved. I haven't seen that, but maybe. Arcade Perfect Reviews. Lindor is a legendarily nice person. Jeff is a known jerk who starts fights with everyone. Lindor is a top 10, probably top 5 player in baseball. He is not top 5. I would say he's a top 15 player. I would say a top 15 player. But, yeah, I mean, the reality is Lindor is well respected. I don't think Jeff McNeil, outside of maybe Nimmo and Alonso, is that well respected by many players. R.W. Davis, I want real people, not guys to fall in line. Jake Q said, Noodle Arm Nimmo definitely leaked it out all out. Lindor's been a common denominator in all Mets issues and Mets inconsistencies on the field. There's been some inconsistencies, but I think people get mad too much about his early season struggles when 2024 Lindor was the most clutch player on the team. And I agree he's got to be more consistent, but when you look at his overall numbers, they're amazing. And I get the early starts. They're very frustrating. But to write Francisco Lindor off because his Aprils have not been great is also absolutely insane. I mean, the season is 6 months. So 100%, I'd like him to be better early in the season. But a lot of guys struggle early in the season. It's not just a Lindor thing. R.W. Davis says, people loved McNeil's fire until they did too much BS when he cures all. Well, the reality is, R.W., is the fire's gone. The fire's been gone. Shorty fire burning on the dance floor. There's no more fire left when it comes to Jeff McNeil. That was 3-4 years ago. It's over. That fire is gone, and all he looks like a big crybaby now. So the fire was good when he was hitting .320, winning a batting title. That fire is long gone. That fire has been put out. And now he's just causing fires that we don't need. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Live. Subscribe to my YouTube right now. We're about to be at 400 subscribers. Scan that code. Become Mets Daily Insider, $5 a month. You can leave super chats as well. Below that, we'll always read first before any other chats on the next day's show. So leave those super chats below. And appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Devin Williams is a New York Met. Mets getting the Yankees hand-me-downs, leftover, Eskimo brothers with the Yankees and Queens. We'll see how it works. Again, I like it if Edwin Diaz is a Met, but if Devin Williams is the Mets closer, I'm not in love with this signing. So let's see what happens next. And we'll talk about what happens next tomorrow right here on Mets Daily. Have a great day, everyone.